Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. An easy way to have an idea if a person is a decent person, a maybe respectful or respected person, or I don't know, a person of character, is to look who are his friends, or what kind of organizations he deals with, or his member, and what kind of clubs. It's very easy. And also you can figure out who his idols are, or the person he admires, and what kind of values, virtues that person admires. The same thing is with a country or an entity, a business. See, what models they try to emulate, in what kind of organizations they are, who they ally themselves with. In this case, we have Russia that I want to talk about today. And Russia is excluded from Davos. Now, if a country is excluded from Davos, for some, that might be a good thing, because that means they're not part of these guys who really want to command and pull the strings on this globe. Not that particular one, because that would make me the boss right here. I wish. All right. So Russia was not invited at Davos. What does that tell you? That tells you at least that the country is not the one that does the job of the globalists or those big interests that want to take over this thing. Remember, China was invited. Xi Jinping spoke, I think, last year. He was the first speaker. Well, why? They tried to court China. But I'm not sure that China and India really will be courted as much as they were before, since they did not want to impose sanctions and destroy Russia. Therefore, I don't know. But in this case, let's see Russia, since Russia was not invited at Davos, and I'm pretty sure they don't have anybody in Bilderberg group as well. So, or other little groups like this. So let's look at this article coming from Russia Today. I think this is a badge of honor for Russia. Remember when Putin was over there and in the Munich conference, it was in 2008, 2009, 2011, something like that. I can't remember exactly. That was, I think, 2008. When he came over there, everybody was like, who invited this little peasant here? Well, the peasant told them, we're not going to accept your hegemony. Huh? We didn't invite you here to take a shit on our party, boy. Well, look what you got in 15 years. So let's look at what these guys are saying in Russia Today. It's from December 19th, 2023. No Russia at Davos, ambassador. It's a loss for the World Economic Forum, not for Moscow. Moscow's envoy in Switzerland says. Well, it depends how you look at it. I don't think if Davos would be a really positive thing and would be, we're all interested in the world and we make it a better place and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it's about power, and a few of us, will control that thing over here. And in this case, Russia, could be part of the big guys at the table, but they will never be accepted because they're considered peasants. That's what they are. I mean, that's what they are considered, not that's what they are. That's how they consider them. That's what I meant. Russia will again be absent from the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, WEF, in Davos. Early next year, Russian ambassador to Switzerland, Sergei Garmonin, has confirmed the high-profile gathering of international business and political figures is scheduled to take place in a Swiss alpine resort between January 15th and 19th. You see, these guys, the high-profile gathering of international business and political figures, this is a beautiful, beautiful introduction of this kind of group. You wouldn't tell that these guys just want to hang Russia by its balls. And Russia Today still uses this kind of things. I mean, can't you use some terms that will really fit better that organization? That tells me that you're kind of like begging to be taken into consideration. Why don't you call them the way I think they proved they are, which they talk to you like this, and call them the way they are, exclusivist. Just a few countries. What their goal? They say business and high-profile gathering of international business and political figures. I think you can say more, but they didn't. I don't like that, but whatever. And I'm quoting, Russia will not be represented. Russia, go and play or at a different table at the World Economic Forum in Davos, since the organizers didn't send invitations to the Russians last year and this year. Garmonin told TASS news agency on Tuesday. Russia skipped Davos 2023 after the organizers said its participation at the event would be unwelcome. Fuck off, basically. Due to Moscow's military operation in Ukraine. According to the WEF, its relations with Russian firms sanctioned due to the conflict were frozen. We're gonna hurt you. The ambassador said he didn't think Russia would lose anything by missing out on the WEF again in 2024. And I'm quoting, in my opinion, only the forum itself loses from such a decision. I think so. They need resources. He said, according to Garmonin, Moscow will continue to solve problems in other formats and on other platforms. BRICS, there you have it. And not only. They have the Russian, they have the St. Petersburg, and not only. The diplomat also criticized plans by the Swiss organizer to hold a meeting dedicated to discussions about Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's 10-point peace plan, that's garbage again, to settle a conflict with Russia. Meetings like this, and I'm quoting, are divorced from reality and lack any added value. They will not bring peace any closer, he argued. That's true, I think. Zelensky's peace formula, quote-unquote, calls for Russia's withdrawal from all territories claimed by Kiev, reparations from Moscow, and a war crimes tribunal. From the get-go, impossible. And Ukraine, I'm quoting, is in no position to put forward any ultimatums to Russia, and everyone understands this perfectly well. He said the Kiev regime, which has no hopes of achieving even the slightest success on the battlefield, is denying the obvious and feeding the West with unfeasible projects in its attempts to solicit yet another military assistance package. Russian Deputy UN Ambassador Dmitry Polyansky said last week that Kiev had squandered its chance for a favorable argument with Moscow. Any possible deal now will be reflecting its capitulation. Well, even if without this war in Ukraine, which would have come sooner or later, not Ukraine, Russia. They don't like Russia being independent, strong. No, they can't have that. And in order to get access to Russia's resources and manpower and its military arsenal, nuclear weapons and so on, they need a weak traitor instead of Putin. And they don't have that. And sooner or later, the confrontation would have come if Putin or someone like him would have remained in power. So Putin was accepted into Davos, and not only because it was weak in 2008, still weak, and they thought they could somehow bribe this peasant Putin, as they did like this with Boris Yeltsin. Oh my God, it was awful embarrassment of the Russian people. But these guys forgot about it, but the Russians did not, including Putin and people like him. It's hard, to come from a superpower, all of a sudden be treated like a dog in chains. And then for 10 years, from 1991, let's say, until 2000, and even after that, and don't expect that entity to not hate you or not try to get revenge. Therefore, when I say be careful, my fellow Americans, when you see people at the Pentagon appointing certain kind of people in certain kind of positions, especially if they have grievances against certain kind of groups, be careful. We have examples. History has plenty of examples when the victim, once it got in power, fucked up the guy that toppled real bad. You can look at the French Revolution, that's one. They always mention the 1804 massacre in Haiti. That's the clearest and nicest example, just to mention two of them. So be careful. Because at one point, these guys can talk among one another and say, you know what? How about a little payback, a little bit of justice? And what are you going to do then? So the same with Russia. Russia was at least 15 years, from 1991 until, I would say, 2005, it was considered a funny-looking, peasant coming to the city. Not brushing his teeth, not washing his hands, weird-looking, funny dressed, and so on. But, like a, I don't know, whatever. I was about to say something. Anyway, like a clown, let's put it this way. Interesting, but I will not sit with the person at the table. And unfortunately, Russia did not have that in mind, because Russian people are not, these people or those people. Russian people are Russian people. They have a culture they're proud of. They have a history they're proud of. They have traditions they're proud of. They have a number. They have a big country. They have nuclear weapons. Why should they feel inferior to anybody? They shouldn't. But these guys want to keep them like a lapdog. Hey, you're right here, and I'm going to take your resources. Okay, here's some sugar for you. And Putin did not want that. And these guys are blaming him and calling him this and calling him that. That's why his approval rating is in the 80s, 79, 83, 82. And Biden's just dropped to what, to 34, I think, was the last time I saw it. I'm about to make maybe a video on that one. So anyway, my friends, I think that Russia will form its Davos. It's already formed, I would say, in the form of BRICS. And not only, you have the Shanghai Economic Cooperation Organization. You have the Road and Belt thing, that 120 countries with China. There's many other organizations that are as strong, I would say, than Davos. If you look at, for instance, BRICS, with G7 relatively the same. And remember, this is just a how do you call it? arrogant way of looking at certain kind of countries, entities, people, nations. And you can do that. I mean, it's not illegal, but don't expect a reaction. Actions have consequences, and this is one. And push the guy that can smack you real bad to a corner, and he's gonna smack you. And you're gonna get bruised. And then what they're gonna do? You either go into mutual destruction, or say, oh, back off. Oh, maybe I should give this guy a little bit of room here. I can't go this far. You tried, but you failed. You're not gonna say you failed, but you failed. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.